In a striking shift in political sentiment, a recent Gallup poll reveals a record surge in satisfaction among Republicans regarding the state of the nation, coinciding with the early days of President Donald Trump's administration. According to the survey conducted between February 3 and 16, only 34% of U.S. adults expressed satisfaction with the country's direction, a notable increase from 20% in January. The most dramatic change comes from Republican respondents, whose satisfaction skyrocketed from a mere 10% to an impressive 68%. This 58-point increase marks the largest recorded jump in satisfaction for a political subgroup since Gallup began tracking such metrics in 1991. Conversely, the poll highlights a significant decline in satisfaction among Democrats, who saw their approval ratings plummet from 32% to just 5%. Independents also registered a rise in satisfaction, increasing from 18% to 30%. The stark contrast in satisfaction levels among political parties underscores the tendency for partisans to react strongly to presidential transitions, as seen in previous administrations. Historical data shows that such shifts often occur during significant political changes, including the transitions from Democratic to Republican leadership. The current results indicate a broader trend wherein a change in the ruling party profoundly impacts public sentiment. The current Republican satisfaction growth outstrips previous records, surpassing the 40-point increase among Democrats following President Biden's inauguration in 2021 and the 33-point increase for Republicans after Trump's election in 2017. Other notable spikes in satisfaction occurred during major geopolitical events such as the Gulf War and the aftermath of the September 11 attacks. Despite the overall uptick in satisfaction, the Gallup poll reveals that Americans continue to identify the government as the foremost issue facing the nation, with 27% citing it as their primary concern. This persistent anxiety about governmental performance is complemented by worries about immigration and the economy, which follow closely behind in priority for many Americans. Notably, mentions of the government have surged significantly among Democrats, rising from 22% in October to 45% in the latest survey, signaling increased frustration with the current administration. In a related development, California Congressman Sam Liccardo, a Democrat, has announced plans to introduce the Modern Emoluments and Malfeasance Enforcement (MAME) Act, targeting the controversial dollar Trump cryptocurrency that has faced plummeting value since its launch. The proposed legislation aims to prohibit top officials, including the president and members of Congress, from issuing or endorsing personal meme coins, a move that Liccardo argues is necessary to prevent potential conflicts of interest and financial exploitation of the public. As Democrats navigate these turbulent waters, they find themselves in a challenging position. Liccardo's Meme Act reflects an increasing scrutiny on the intersection of politics and cryptocurrency, particularly as the financial implications of these digital assets affect countless investors. With the Republican Party's recent gains in satisfaction and voter sentiment, Democrats are urged to reassess their strategies and responses to key issues, particularly as the new administration embarks on its agenda. California's Governor Gavin Newsom also faces pressure regarding immigration policies, having previously championed sanctuary laws aimed at protecting undocumented immigrants. However, as Trump returns to the White House with a renewed focus on deportations, Newsom and other Democratic leaders have tempered their rhetoric, indicating a strategic shift in response to voter sentiments and the evolving political landscape. The stark contrast in party satisfaction and the ongoing debates over immigration, government performance, and financial ethics suggest a pivotal moment in U.S. politics, as both parties recalibrate their strategies. The coming months will be crucial in determining how these dynamics will shape the national discourse and influence public opinion ahead of future elections. The interplay between satisfaction policy and partisan identity will undoubtedly continue to drive political narratives in the lead-up to the 2026 midterms and beyond. In a striking shift of political sentiment, recent Gallup polling has revealed a dramatic surge in satisfaction among Republican respondents regarding the state of the nation, coinciding with President Donald Trump's inauguration. The data indicates that 68% of Republicans express satisfaction, an astonishing leap from just 10% in January, leading to a record 58-point increase, the largest recorded for any party subgroup since Gallup began tracking these sentiments in 1991. This surge has contributed to an overall national satisfaction rate of 34%, up from 20% the previous month. By contrast, Democratic satisfaction plummeted from 32% to a mere 5% during the same period, while independent satisfaction increased from 18% to 30%. The figures stem from a Gallup poll conducted between February 3 and 16, which marks the first assessment of public sentiment since Trump's return to the presidency. Historically, transitions between party control have often seen such partisan shifts in satisfaction, but the magnitude of the current Republican increase is unprecedented. Previous notable spikes included a 40-point increase for Democrats after the 2021 inauguration of Joe Biden and a 33-point rise for Republicans following Trump's first inauguration in 2017. While the Republican satisfaction surge is noteworthy, the decline among Democrats reflects a trend seen in past presidencies where the party out of power experiences a drop in morale following a change in administration. The 27-point decline in Democratic satisfaction ranks among the largest recorded by Gallup, alongside significant drops following major political events such as Trump's 2016 victory and Biden's 2020 win. Despite the overall increase in satisfaction, the Gallup poll underscores a persistent concern regarding government performance, which remains the most frequently cited issue facing the nation. For the fourth consecutive month, 27% of Americans identified government dysfunction as the primary problem, followed by immigration and economic concerns. Interestingly, the percentage of Democrats naming the government as the top problem surged to 45%, nearly double the figure from October when Biden was still in office. Republican concerns regarding immigration have also seen a notable decline, dropping from 30% in October to 20% now, with an increasing focus on government performance instead. This adjustment highlights a shift in priorities as the Republican base responds to the new administration. The broader implications of these polling trends suggest a significant realignment in American political sentiment, particularly as Trump begins his second term with a clear mandate from his supporters. His administration's early actions, including aggressive budget cuts and attempts to streamline government operations, are likely to resonate with his base, reinforcing their satisfaction levels. As Trump's presidency unfolds, the potential for increasing polarization remains high. The stark contrast in satisfaction between Republicans and Democrats may lead to a deepening partisan divide, particularly as Trump continues to implement his agenda, which includes drastic budget cuts and a focus on reducing federal spending. The political landscape is set for continued tension as both parties navigate the shifting sentiments among their respective bases. Looking ahead, the trajectory of satisfaction among Republicans and Democrats will be critical to watch, especially as Trump's policies begin to take effect and the nation grapples with ongoing issues such as immigration, the economy, and government performance. The polling data from Gallup serves as an early indicator of how the political climate may evolve in the coming months, potentially shaping the strategies both parties will employ as they prepare for future electoral contests. As Trump himself stated at a recent conservative political action conference, his administration aims to forge a new and lasting political majority, a vision that his supporters appear eager to embrace. In a significant development on Capitol Hill, the U.S. Senate has confirmed Jamieson Greer as the new United States Trade Representative USTR with a vote tally of 56 to 43. This appointment comes at a pivotal time as the Biden administration seeks to navigate complex global trade dynamics and address ongoing economic challenges exacerbated by the pandemic and geopolitical tensions. Ambassador Greer, who expressed his gratitude for the Senate's confidence, outlined his vision for the role, emphasizing the need to combat unfair trade practices that have contributed to the offshoring of American jobs. It is my honor to be confirmed by the Senate to serve as President Trump's U.S. Trade Representative, Greer stated. He highlighted the administration's commitment to restoring America's manufacturing capabilities and reducing the nation's trade deficit, noting, "Under President Trump's leadership, I will work strategically to address unfair trade practices, open new markets, and execute a robust trade agenda that puts America first." This perspective aligns with the administration's broader goal of reshaping international trade policies to prioritize domestic interests. Meanwhile, the Senate Banking Committee is making strides towards establishing a comprehensive legislative framework for digital assets. On February 26, the committee conducted a hearing titled "Exploring Bipartisan Legislative Frameworks for Digital Assets," featuring expert testimonies from industry leaders. Among the witnesses were Louis Cohen, partner at Cahill Gordon and Reindl LLP, and Jonathan Jackham, Deputy General Counsel at Kraken Digital Asset Exchange. The hearing aimed to address the rapidly evolving landscape of digital currencies and the need for regulatory clarity to foster innovation while ensuring consumer protection. As digital assets continue to gain traction, the committee's efforts reflect a recognition of the importance of bipartisan cooperation in creating effective policies. The discussions touched on the potential benefits of digital currencies, such as increased financial inclusion and efficiency, while also acknowledging the risks associated with their volatility and potential for misuse. In other political news, Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas officially launched his re-election campaign, seeking a third term in the Senate. His announcement, made on February 27, positions him as a prominent figure in the Republican Party, especially as the nation approaches the upcoming midterm elections. Cotton's campaign is likely to focus on national security, economic recovery, and issues surrounding trade, which are critical to his constituency. As these developments unfold, they highlight the interconnectedness of trade policy, digital innovation, and electoral politics in shaping the future of the U.S. economy. The Senate's recent actions signal a proactive approach to addressing contemporary challenges, setting the stage for potentially transformative policies that could impact American workers and businesses alike. With Greer at the helm of trade negotiations and ongoing discussions on digital asset regulation, stakeholders will be closely watching how these initiatives evolve in the months ahead. As the political landscape shifts and new challenges arise, the implications of these decisions will resonate well into the future, potentially redefining the U.S. role in global trade and commerce. In a significant turn of events, the U.S. House of Representatives has passed its fiscal year 2025 budget resolution, a decision that has raised alarms among fiscal watchdogs and political analysts alike. This budget resolution serves as a vehicle for budget reconciliation legislation, potentially leading to an astonishing $2.8 trillion increase in the federal deficit over the next decade. The implications of this decision extend far beyond the Capitol, as it poses critical questions about fiscal responsibility and the future of government spending. Maya McGuinness, president of the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget, expressed her dismay at the House's decision. "It's truly unfathomable that when confronted with multi-trillion-dollar deficits and debt climbing towards record highs, lawmakers' response is to pass a budget allowing themselves to add trillions more in debt," she stated. Her strong condemnation highlights a growing concern among economists and policymakers about the sustainability of U.S. fiscal policies. McGuinness further emphasized that budget reconciliation should ideally focus on reducing the deficit rather than exacerbating it, urging lawmakers to reconsider their approach. The vote, which reflected a deeply divided House, will require further scrutiny as the Senate prepares to address the budget resolution. Lawmakers will need to revisit this budget, either to incorporate Senate modifications or to reconcile differences in a budget conference. Critics, including McGuinness, argue that the current reconciliation instructions should prioritize deficit reduction, not facilitate an increase in national debt. Meanwhile, the political landscape is shifting as the 2024 House election results are still being tallied. With all 435 House seats contested, Republicans are currently leading with 213 seats, while Democrats hold 204. The stakes are high, as control of the House hinges on reaching the critical threshold of 218 seats. Former President Donald Trump's recent victory in the presidential race adds another layer of complexity as Republicans also regained control of the Senate. As the dust settles from the elections, the implications for future legislative agendas, including the budget, remain uncertain. In a parallel narrative, Vermont's first LGBTQ congressional representative Becca Balint continues to make waves in her new role. Balint's journey to Congress is a testament to resilience and representation in a field that has historically sidelined underrepresented groups. After years of teaching and advocating for her students, especially those grappling with poverty, Balint's entry into politics signifies a broader shift towards inclusivity. Representation matters, Balint emphasized, reflecting on the importance of visibility for marginalized communities. Her election not only breaks gender and sexual orientation barriers but also inspires a new generation of leaders who see themselves in her success. As policymakers grapple with the ramifications of the recent budget resolution and election outcomes, Balint's story serves as a reminder of the power of representation in shaping public policy. The intersection of fiscal responsibility and inclusive governance will likely define the legislative agenda in the coming years. For now, the focus remains on how these developments will influence the country's fiscal health and the lives of millions of Americans who rely on government programs. Looking ahead, the ongoing discussions in Congress will be critical in determining whether lawmakers can balance the demands of fiscal prudence with the need for social equity. The path forward is fraught with challenges. But the evolving political landscape suggests that the dialogue on budget priorities will continue to be a focal point as the nation navigates its fiscal future. In a significant legal development, the U.S. Supreme Court has temporarily upheld the Trump administration's freeze on foreign aid payments, a decision rendered by Chief Justice John Roberts just hours before a critical deadline. This ruling comes amid a contentious climate surrounding the administration's efforts to overhaul federal aid programs, particularly those managed by the U.S. Agency for International Development (USAID). The urgency of the situation escalated when U.S. District Judge Amir Ali ordered the State Department and USAID to disperse approximately $2 billion to contractors by midnight on Wednesday. However, Trump administration officials argued that the timeline was unfeasible, claiming that processing such payments in an orderly manner within the stipulated timeframe was impossible. The intervention by Chief Justice Roberts has effectively paused the judge's order, allowing the administration to continue its review of foreign aid funding without immediate legal repercussions. Since President Trump assumed office in January, his administration has moved swiftly to dismantle various aid programs, placing a significant portion of USAID staff on administrative leave or terminating their employment. These drastic measures are part of a broader initiative to reduce the federal workforce and cut governmental expenses. A campaign reportedly influenced by billionaire advisor Elon Musk. Musk's recent request for federal employees to recount their weekly accomplishments sparked outrage among the workforce and led to discord within the departments. This freeze on foreign aid is not merely a bureaucratic maneuver, it has profound implications for global humanitarian efforts. The U.S. is the largest single provider of humanitarian aid worldwide, with operations in over 60 countries. Reports indicate that the Trump administration aims to eliminate more than 90% of USAID's foreign aid contracts, which could result in a staggering reduction of $60 billion in overseas aid. The fallout from these cutbacks is already visible, as hundreds of aid programs have been suspended globally since the administration's announcement. The chaos resulting from the aid freeze is reflected in the comments made by Acting Solicitor General Sarah Harris, who noted that Judge Ali's order had created disorder at a time when the government was trying to conduct an orderly review of aid allocations. As the legal landscape surrounding foreign aid continues to evolve, the implications of this ruling may resonate far beyond the immediate financial transactions. With the Supreme Court's temporary support for the administration's stance, the future of U.S. foreign aid hangs in the balance, raising concerns among international observers regarding how these changes will affect millions who rely on American support. As the Trump administration navigates this legal and political minefield, the long-term impacts on foreign relations and humanitarian assistance will likely become more pronounced. The coming weeks will be critical in determining how the U.S. engages with the international community and responds to the pressing needs of vulnerable populations worldwide.